Good morning, everyone. Welcome. If you're live, welcome. Welcome to this moment. Lots of things to hear today, observe. In a beautiful place. The sun is shining. And I invite you to check in with yourself in this moment, this Sunday morning. We've had lots of rain here in the northeast part of the United States, and everything's green. Nature's unraveling. Life is unfolding. And I want to practice the art of living fully in this moment to master the basics. And it doesn't matter how many times I go back to it, it always has something to teach. I mean, where else would we start other than learning to live more fully in the moment? So take a moment, welcome in our audiences this morning. If you're live, YouTube, Facebook, E26 TV, LinkedIn, take a moment. And whether you're going to be here for a couple minutes or longer, I welcome you. And if you're on the podcast, you'll be getting this on the playback or Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV. We have our own channel on Roku. Today's title is Poetry and Presence. Poetry and Presence. Got a couple poems to share with you. If you are somebody who's approaching midlife or you're in midlife, you found this for a reason, and there's more. There's more to unfold in this moment. There's more to unfold. Got some visitors in this beautiful thing we get to live called life. And I hope you woke up this morning in gratitude. But if you didn't, that's okay too. We got to embrace all of it. But take a moment. I'm going to share something with you about breathing. A little notification here, and then we're going to do some practice. So there's a book called Breath by James Nestor, and it's a great read. It's a simple concept called breath. Breath. We do it nonstop. It's always happening in the present moment. If it's not, you know it. You know it. And you may not know if you're breathing shallow, it may not become aware. You may not be aware of it in the moment, but eventually you're going to feel that. So I want to read this from his book. He went, and just to give you some background, he did an extensive, deep dive, not only on just today, he went back through history, and he found that the first real uh, on a thing called Breath Plus was discovered during the Civil War, when veterans' heart rate was up to like 200 even when they weren't in battle. And so this will speak to that. So this is just a little excerpt from the book. And he says, breathing is more than just a biochemical act. It's more than just moving the diaphragm downward and sucking air to feed hungry cells and remove wastes. The tens of billions of molecules we bring into our bodies with every breath also serve a more subtle but equally important role. They influence nearly every internal organ, telling them when to turn on and off. They affect heart rate, digestion, moods, attitudes, when we feel aroused, and when we feel uh, for some reason I got that word, and when we feel nervous. Anyway, let me keep going. Breathing is the power switch to a vast network called the autonomic nervous system. Breathing is the power switched to a vast network called the autonomic nervous system. And it goes on to say that these systems, there's two systems. There's the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. So your breath, and this is something that I just learned. When you breathe, tens of billions of molecules, tens of billions of molecules are brought into your body. And James Nestor went on this extensive research where he plugged his nose off so he could only do mouth breathing. And over a period of time, his body, everything began to deteriorate because he wasn't able to breathe through the nose. It was all mouth breathing. And so what I want to invite you to do right now, without going down that's a really deep dive into something so simple as is this moment and living in this moment. So what I want to invite you to do here is just take a moment, and we're going to just do some breathing here. And I want to invite you to breathe, at least breathe in through your nose. Maybe to the count of 4. Pause for a moment and breathe out through your mouth. So it would look like this. You can close your eyes if you want. You can leave them open. Observe the noises here in the background. Nature, very calming, very good for your parasympathetic nervous system, and I'll talk about that more after. So in through the nose, pause, out through the mouth. So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause, breathe out. And if you're getting this on playback and you're traveling, just, if you're driving, or just keep your eyes open and just breathe in through the nose. It's always a good time for a conscious breath. As soon as you become aware, just find it, breathe. And then you condition it in your body. You can do it all day long. You don't need to go meditate for an hour. You just stop, breathe. You find that breath, or say, allow that breath. Let your belly expand. Breathe in through the nose. Pause. Out through the mouth. And it doesn't take long to feel the calming energy come in. And it literally calms the nervous system. And your autonomic nervous system that I mentioned has 2 switches. It has sympathetic, and that's when you are in a state of stress or anxiety. The sympathetic nervous system kicks on. That's where maybe organs, something happens, and it's that fight or flight mode. And we know, research has told us that most people are living life like there's a lion in the closet, that there's a monster around the corner. And we breathe that way. We go through life that way. And you don't need me to tell you. All you need to do is get in your car and drive across town, and you'll realize very quickly that people are in aggressive, sympathetic mode most of the time, that they're stressed, anxious, and constantly trying to get to the next moment, anticipate the next moment, get to the next moment, fight it. And we can live that way for a long time. And it can manifest in the body in terms of twitches. Some people get twitches, some people get tenseness in their shoulders and their back, health problems because of this constant, the autonomic nervous system constantly in sympathetic mode. So while some people may click on this and say, oh, it's breath, and the brain goes, check, I know that. But what I want to invite you to do is make it a beautiful practice all throughout the day. And this is what I'm working on consistently. Just being able to pause for a moment can change your life. And I'll share this little off script, but I interviewed astronaut Andrew Allen, and he had a major uh, incident with an aircraft while he was flying, almost identical to the movie Top Gun. Not identical, but a similar thing. And and I was thinking about the movie Top Gun. Well, they ejected. If you've seen the movie Top Gun, where the original one, where they eject out of the seat, and then Goose hits the glass, and then obviously gets knocked out, and you know the story. So this was a similar situation, except um, what Andrew Allen did, he paused. He thought about grabbing the eject button, and he didn't. He paused, and that pause, that momentary pause, and I'm sure he was trying to, I'm sure his breath was accelerated, but he still had to find a micro moment of breathing to pause and not react right away, so he could allow the deeper part of himself to respond. And that's what happened. And because of that, he was able to survive and bring the plane down. So uh, when I say pause and breathe, if you condition yourself to pause all throughout the day, you might pause when you most need it. And finding that breath, just conditioning it every moment. And because we're human and we're not going to be able to do it constantly because life is happening, we're going to feel like there's a tiger in the closet sometimes. But just the moment you're aware of it, the moment you become aware of it, pause, breathe, bring yourself into the moment. Um, and because the conscious mind gets freaked out, the conscious mind wants to push buttons, wants to react. You know what I mean? Wants to react. But when you pause, you take that deep breath. In my mind, metaphorically, I'm going deeper into the subconscious, and I'm drawing on things that my conscious mind can't comprehend, and I'm relying on a deeper intuition that can play out in my life, and where decisions that, one decision here or there, being in the right state, getting myself out of that sympathetic fight flight mode into parasympathetic, and I could make a decision that could radically change my life for the better, or save my life or someone else's life in an extreme situation. But since we're not all flying jet planes and all that kind of stuff, but you get behind the wheel of your car, don't you? Most of you make decisions for your family. And so learning to pause. As a matter of fact, Ryan Holiday wrote a book called Stillness is the Key. And he did a case study on John F. Kennedy during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And what he basically personified is that Kennedy personified this ability, instead of just reacting. It was of course, a much larger scale than flying a jet plane and having a major incident. But he was able to step back and pause and breathe and allow the deeper part, not just being living in the reactive conscious mind, but going in deeper and allowing a bigger decision, a better decision to happen. And we all kind of, history, how that played out. So I want to invite you again. I'm just going to step out of the frame here for a moment, and we'll transition into some poetry here for you. And again, this is fairly new to the platform where I'm introducing poetry, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's something that is evolved. The show is evolving. I'm evolving, and I think that poetry is a beautiful way to draw presence in, to bring us to a heightened awareness of things in our lives that maybe we're not aware of right now. And awareness is key. Awareness in this moment. Awareness on a micro level today when we do this little pause, and then maybe a macro level. Maybe there's a awareness in this present moment that will happen on a macro level where you'll start to go, wow, you'll see things. And from there, we can make better decisions. So I'm going to step out of the frame and shut my mouth, which is be good. And I just invite you to listen to the sounds. I'll move the camera around a little bit if you want to keep your eyes open. If you want to close your eyes, close your eyes. And again, just referencing the book Breathe by James Nestor. Breathe in through the nose if you want to count. I would just find a rhythm and let your belly expand and see if you can just pause at the top and the bottom and just allow this calm to come over. And I promise you, it's not me. Your body knows what to do. Your body's going to go into parasympathetic mode, rest, refresh, digest, relax. And then you start to pull from the deeper part of yourself. And you can live from that place more often. And I want that for you. I want it for me. So I'm going to step out. Just take a moment and in through the nose, out through the mouth, and enjoy the surroundings here. Good morning, LS. And I'm going to show you over here. I love how, and if you're on the podcast, I want to invite you to come over to the video at Austin J. Haynes, AustinJHaines. Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, and you'll be able to see the video. But over here, I love how the sunlight comes through the trees. Just kind of comes through the canopy there. It just creates a very, very calming effect here, especially on this beautiful Sunday that we're streaming live here from Arnie's Mount. Arnie's Mount. This is one of the highest points in southern New Jersey. It's in Burlington County, and it's a beautiful conversion. At one point, they were going to put housing up here, these like mini mansions, and that project got thwarted, and they turned it into this beautiful park. It's got a huge walking path. You can see the background. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's a great way to step in. So I just want to give a couple shout outs, and then we're gonna get into the poetry. So first of all, I want to give my brother a shout out. This hat that I have on is his logo. It's Professionality Painting. He's an exceptional painter, and if you are in the King of Prussia, Pennsylvania area, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, which is maybe about an hour. It's about an hour west of Philadelphia. Professionality Painting. My brother is a fantastic painter, so I just want to give a shout out for that. And also today at 12 noon, I'm going to be going to this wellness fair that's right here in West Hampton, New Jersey. And that starts at 12 noon. That's with Joyce, who was on my show Monday, and I'll put the link in the chat when I get a chance after this is over. So if you're in the Burlington County area, I'm going to be sharing. It's a live poetry reading. It's called Sinews of Community, and I'm going to be reading that in front of a live audience, and it's going to be just a great time to get healthy, connect with other people, have some fun, and do that. And then also, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, which is Duchess DJ Love, who sponsors our show here, Gallivanting Like a Royal. Let me see if I can put this up. So I'm on the phone here today, so. That's Duchess DJ Love. She sponsored our show from the very beginning, Gallivanting Like a Royal. She's got a book out, and she has her own show, Gallivanting Like a Royal. If you love travel, if you want to learn travel, if you want to live vicariously through her, she's been all over 50 states, 10 countries. It's a great way to add presence to your life through travel. Because you think about when you travel, you're always like, wow, look at that. Wow, look at that. And then we go home and we're like, got like tunnel vision, right? So travel is a great way to experience things. And when we come back, we might experience our own the acres of diamonds in our own backyard, which is basically happening for me because this is right in my backyard. And I'm so grateful that I found it and be able to broadcast from here and connect with you. It's great. And then let me get into the poetry. I'll share. I'm actually writing a poetry book, so I'll talk to you about that. So I'm going to revisit this because if you are somebody who's midlife, I'm going to share the first poem I'm going to share with you is a classic. It's Robert Frost's "The Road Not Taken." Many of you have heard it. I would say I dare to find somebody who hasn't heard the poem, but I'm going to read it again, and then I'm going to share with you if you're midlife. The question I have: what if you didn't take the road less traveled? What if you didn't? What if you went down the main road and you just followed the crowd? What do you do then? So I'm going to address that. But let's read this great poem, classic poem from a classic American poet. Well, still considered an American poet, but went to England for a while. But anyway, here it is: The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for the passing there had warned them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. What do you think about when you hear that poem? I had heard about this poem. As a matter of fact, one of the places I frequent, Wissahickon Valley, they have a park bench, and it says it on the park bench. There's an emblem that references this poem, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference, right? But what if you didn't? What if you didn't do? What if you didn't? What if you read the poem, you forgot? What if you never heard about the poem? What if you're like, I didn't do that? That was me. And as I, something going on back there, as I reflected on this poem, I was inspired by Robert Frost to write another poem. And you'll hear in this poem that I wrote, you're going to hear some similar nuances, but it's slightly different. And I wanted to speak to you if you're in midlife, if you feel like you can't change, if you feel like it's over. These are the things that I've told myself, and I know other people have said the same things to themselves because I hear it. It's too late for me. I made bad decisions. What if it would have went this way? What if it would have went that way? So let's revisit a new poem called Taking the Path Not Taken. Taking the Path Not Taken. I now tell my story with a sigh and glee. Someone ages and ages from now will see. Two paths emerged in a green wood. I took the one most traveled by, as I should. Many years hence, I reflect and see the wide path, unfulfilled, dreams left to be. Hypnotized, lulled to sleep, and almost buried alive. But a palpitating pulse rises from deep inside. I retrace my steps to that once fork in my path. Perhaps it will lend me a second chance. The wood, now yellow, orange, and red, beckons me. I am resurrected from the dead. One step, although semi rattled and shaken, my foot firmly planted, taking the path not taken. Removed is all inner dissonance, and that has made all the difference. Taking the path not taken. I hope it speaks to you. Trust it will, the way it spoke to me, and I hope it provides some perspective along your path that life change can happen, that purpose is born through pain. Don't stay lukewarm. Don't stay lukewarm. Don't. Make a decision. If you have to retrace your steps, there might be something there. Maybe there's a purpose you left, you forgot. Boldly look at it. Boldly take ownership. And maybe you'll be taking the path not taken. This poem resonates with me just because of everything that's changed, going through lots of transition. I embrace it all, every moment, right now. All right, well, it's going to be time to depart. I just want to recap find your breath today? Breathe in through your nose. One of the things you can do, I'll just add as a close, maybe add a trigger. Like whenever I think this, I'm going to pause and breathe. So for example, whenever I think I have to, that thing that causes you to immediately spring into action, like as if it's fight or flight, but it's do your laundry, maybe just pause. Maybe every time you go to wash a dish, either before you wash the dish, before you start, usher in a pause and breathe there. Maybe when you get out of bed in the morning, before you jump into the day, usher in a pause and breathe right there. Begin to find these moments throughout your day where you can pause and breathe, and then it becomes a part of your life. And I believe the quality of your breath is the quality of your life. And maybe I'll do a more extensive study someday, but I know most people live up here. The breath is shallow and they're in their head. The human brain, humans have the largest brain in the animal kingdom, in the mammals, right? Largest brain amongst, in our class, largest brain. That's because most people, we live up here. Pause and breathe, be willing to go deeper, be willing to not have to react to every single thing. Just know there's a deeper part of you that is intuitive, it's in touch. Deeper, better decisions can emerge from. And take that time to do it. And then if you took the road less traveled, congratulations. But if you didn't, maybe it's time to revisit that. And instead of having to make a snap decision or feel like you have to make a decision like I did to walk away from my 19-year job, but begin to dance with the possibilities. Options are your friend. You can put, if I told you I'm going to give you $10,000 today and you need to write down 100 options for your life, could you do it? 100 options for your life from wherever you are, from wherever you stand, whatever's happened in the first half. 100 options. I'll give you $10,000. You'd probably say yes to that. I said I need 1,000 options. I need to know 1,000 options, and I'm going to give you all day to do it, and I'll give you $10,000. Chances are you would be able to come up with it. But we know that time is more valuable than money, and you have today. You're getting this whenever you're getting this. You have this moment. Why not create options for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones? Why not? Play with the possibilities. Dance with the infinite. It's all an infinite dance anyway. Why not play with it? Have fun. You're not stuck. You're not constricted. Your mind may be telling you that. So pause and breathe. Open up. Be willing to retrace your steps and maybe create a possibility to take that path that you didn't take or you missed, or create a new path that opens up for you. So I want to thank you so much for being here today. Pause and breathe. Realize the infinite possibility lies in this moment. And I'll be back next week with more poetry and presence. And Mandy, I see you're joining, and we're just finishing up, but I'm so glad you stopped in. You can hear the birds. And if you're getting this on the playback, I invite you to, or the podcast, go over to at Austin J. Haynes. You can follow along with the YouTube channel, see the video, and stay on the lookout for the upcoming book, Seeds of Infinitude. It's my first poetry book. And Mandy, thanks for inspiring me with your poetry, Catalyst Poetry, that you wrote. And I was honored to write the foreword in that book. And I had no idea that I was going to be writing a poetry book. It wasn't even on my radar, but now it is. So, and this is the ability to be open. And I'm going to say this one more time for those of you that are just joining. So, if I said to you, I'm going to give you $10,000 today, and you had to come up with 100 options for your life, would you come up with it? Would you come up with it? 100 options for your life, $10,000. I would imagine you'd say yes, right? Let's go a step further. 1,000 options. 1,000 options for your life. $10,000 at the end of the day. I know you would do it. Everything in your power to do that. And here's what I know. 10,000 hours of living is more valuable than $10,000. So we know that time is more valuable than money. You have today. Take the time to play with the options. And those people that went down in that submersible, they would pay any amount, any, to be in this moment with you right now. Now is all we have. I'm going to quote Joseph Campbell. Eternity is not a time thing. The infinite is not a time thing. The infinite is right now. And once you get that, your life will forever be transmuted. Thank you so much, everyone. Again, a couple quick promotions. We're doing a Costa Rica retreat, Midlife Oasis, in March 2nd to the 10th of 2024. Go to my website at Austin J. Haynes. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah. So it's at the bottom of the screen. I'm doing a better job of promoting and giving people opportunity to connect, because sometimes I'm just pouring stuff out, and got to remember, if you're wherever you're getting this, austinhaines.com, AustinHaines.com. The information on the retreat is there. Very shortly, I'm going to have the information on Seeds of Infinitude, the upcoming poetry book, and you're going to be able to subscribe, and you're going to be able to follow along. There's going to be a journey with this. There's going to be lots of exciting things, and I just want you to be a part of it as your journey unfolds. So thank you so much, everyone. God bless you. Have a fantastic day, and lots of love. Bye for now.